Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you our Week 8 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. That's right, we're here to help you figure out who you should be targeting on the waiver wire and who you need to avoid. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
Hey everyone, I am Justin, that is Kyle, and this is the Fantasy Football Upside. Thanks for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. Kyle and I appreciate that. I can't believe it's already here, Kyle, man. We're already on Week 8, man. This season is just flying by.
It is.
It is.
Just think it would almost be half over, except it's not half over. Because now we don't have to admonish people who are in leagues that go to Week 16, right? Because that's where your league should go now, is to Week 16.
Is that where our league is going?
I don't know. I don't know if I made that change. I'm sure. I'm pretty sure it defaulted to that. Yes, it did.
Oh, okay.
Because I was actually finally able to make sure that everybody in the league played against everybody, even though we have divisional matchups that have everybody play each other twice, that sort of thing. So it worked out. Yeah. That's inside baseball. They don't want to hear about that.
Well, they do want to hear that every week we are going to give you the players that you need to target on the waiver wire, which we are going to do for you today for Week 8 waivers. Yep. So we're going to help find the value in players that maybe some others may overlook. So follow along. We definitely want to help you out. We want to help you guys win
championship.
There it is. Kyle, what you got before we get right into it?
All right, guys, click that like button down below. Help us get found out by the algorithm and other people on YouTube. That way we can ruin their teams for them if you don't like us. We always like to look at the glass as half empty right there, right? But you know what? While you're down there, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the bell. That way you're notified every time we upload a new episode, which we do often. And statistics. Yeah. You know what? Hey, as far as waiver wire goes, we stick to the 60% rule, which is that if they're rostered 60% or less, then in Yahoo, then we actually consider that a guy who is eligible for our waiver wire episode. It's just a general rule of thumb that we've used for the last 2 years now, and it seems to kind of work. So that's what we do. You know what? If you've got a question, feel free to drop that question down below. Just raise your hand and say, "Little help now." And we'll pop in and we'll pop over and say, "Do you need assistance?" That's right. There we go.
Boom.
Boom. Got them both in. Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
All right. So guys, make sure you get your questions down below. I don't know if we're going to be able to get a Sunday pregame show, but we're going to try to get that in, see if we can't snag that for you. And if that's the case, we'll not knock out some of your questions. But as it is, let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end, Justin, start talking about some waiver wire pickups. I know you've got 4. I've got 3. I'm cheating this week, unlike you usually, right? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Look at this guy. All righty. Well, I will start it off.
Don't be that guy.
And that is, I am that guy, Kyle. You know this. You've known this for 35 years.
Oh, yeah.
But first one, running back, Kenneth Gainwell. Kenny. Come on,
Kenny G.
Kenny. Come on, Kenny.
All that smooth jazz.
Well, this smooth jazz, he's going to take over for the underwhelming Miles Sanders, who's most likely to be out for a couple weeks with an ankle injury. I think he avoided major injury, but at least it's going to be a multiple week injury from what it sounds like. We're kind of early in on what the outlook is looking for that. But I don't think Gainwell is going to come into like a full workload, not even like today's bell cow workload.
Yeah.
But the reason why is after that injury to Sanders, Boston Scott was active for the game, and he was used a decent amount last week in the backfield. But I think this does open it up where Gainwell is going to be used, even though he's a rookie. I think he's going to be used in those high leverage situations, which he already was doing. And I think he's going to be used a lot down towards the goal line as well. They get him out in open space quite a bit. Another plus here I have, Kyle, is this is a super favorable matchup for Week 8 because it is going against the Lions.
Ooh.
So if you're needing an
one of at least.
There's a few out there. But I think Gainwell should be able to provide you with some low-end running back 2 flex value while Sanders is out.
Yep.
Just temper your expectations. That's what I mean. It's like, don't come out and think he's going to be a low-end running back 1. I just don't think that's what he's suited for, and that's not this offense, truthfully.
I mean,
he is
my
the
concern,
best back to have.
Yeah, I think he's the better back to have out of the two. My concern is that he's not going to get a ton of the carries. He's been predominantly the passing down guy. I think, though, that he does see an uptick in carry opportunity. But I think that Boston Scott's going to have a good amount. I don't find him reliable. So I could see it start out the first week or so where Gainwell gets a good amount, but not as much as you would hope for, and then start seeing an uptick as Sanders remains out maybe. I think that could be the case. So here's the question. Do you think he's as good at golf as the other Kenny G?
I don't know. I heard
the other Kenny G is really good.
Yeah.
Like he's like a scratch golfer or something like that. He's really
that's what
good.
The audience wanted to know.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, in all the Pro-Am tournaments, he's apparently the one that all the pros fight about getting. So, yeah.
Well, one last little thing I have for Kenny G for this Kenny Gainwell is my sneaking suspicion is that the coaching staff will try to make Miles Sanders a thing when he gets back.
Yeah.
Like it does not matter if Gainwell comes out and balls out. For some reason, they just have this loyalty to him, which I don't really quite understand, because when he's been in it, he just has not been effective. So that's why I think Kenny Gainwell could have a good couple weeks here.
I mean, you got to figure that this is Sanders' last chance, right? I mean, once he comes back, you have to look at it and say, this is probably the last chance that they're going to give him before they decide to let him walk. Because either he blows up and they have to pay him, or they just let him go and he gets, he works for peanuts.
What is his... I mean, he's a 4-year contract
third or
guy.
4 year right now. I think he's on his third year. I think he's on his third year.
He's under contract for next year, but
they're not going to extend him, and it would be nothing to cut him, and So, and it opens up more draft potential and other things like that. So, I think that he's at risk right now of being a vet cut later on in summer next year, unless he manages to do something. All right, so I'm going to walk that fine line about our 60% rule, and I'm going to go with Khalil Herbert. He's 59% rostered, so he is still heavily rostered right there, but he should be a lot more rostered. He's put up solid weeks the last two. He's put up solid numbers the last 2 weeks, and it's clear that, in my opinion, he's the guy as far as what they're going to do in Chicago with Montgomery being out right now, and that's looking like probably, I think, at least another 2 more weeks. Could potentially be a little bit longer as they try to ease him back into a healthy situation. And you know what? With Herbert performing like he has been, it's not winning them any games by any means, but they may be a little bit more reluctant to put Montgomery in there full go right off the bat. So
yeah, it's not like it's the fault of Khalil Herbert. That's for dang sure.
Yeah. No, these losses are not his fault. So look, the news of Herbert's demise has been premature. He was written off for dead last week before the games kicked off, because people were saying if Damian Williams is good to go, then Herbert has no value at all. And I thought, why? I mean, he got more carries when Montgomery got hurt. He was given more carries than Williams was. And so to me, I thought, well, Herbert might be the actual replacement guy. Why would you assume that it's Williams just because he's got more experience? That doesn't necessarily mean anything. It could be any reason. So Damian Williams did nothing last week coming off of the COVID IR list. I think he had 8 yards total. And don't talk about total. So Herbert, on the other hand, has put up solid weeks the last 2 weeks, double digits both weeks. In fantasy points, looks to me like Herbert might have carved out a role going forward for himself even when Montgomery does come back. So I think that this is an interesting situation. Montgomery's coming up. I think he's on the same timeline as Sanders. He's proven himself, in my opinion, a little bit more. And so as a result, I think that the Bears, being the Bears, want to find a way to reduce the cost to keep Montgomery in town, because they're already wasting their tag on A-Rob at this point, because they have no clue how to use him anymore. Good job there, Nagy. I know his name's Matt, but I'm going to call him Bill from now on. He's Bill Nagy because it just sounds like he's an idiot. He is. I understand that's not libel, but whatever it is.
Slander?
Slander. Call some of those plays. It is idiocy. So look, hey, last week, Herbert went for 23 touches. and 133 yards. This is with a healthy Damian Williams on the roster at that time. And Herbert was the sole shining spot of the Bears in week 7, if you were paying attention, which I don't even think the Bears were paying attention. Certainly a lot of their fans weren't. But he was the only person worth considering on that team last week. So that's where I'm at with him. I like Herbert. I say go pick him up. He is under rostered even at 59%. I think he should be on more rosters. There's plenty of leagues that 10-man leagues. I think he should be on a team somewhere, even if it's on a bench. So,
absolutely.
What do you have at wide receiver?
This is another guy that should be rostered in a lot more leagues right now, and that's Rashad Bateman. 25%.
Pretty sure he's rostered in ours.
Yep. I mean, this is a repeater right here for the waiver wire. So I had Bateman on the list last week, and like I said, still only a quarter of the leads out there, everybody. So, go ahead and pick him up. Let other people make the mistake of not doing it. But the issue here is the Ravens do head into their bye week for week 8. So you're not going to be able to play him this week. So
just means you got to you can spend less fab to get him.
Exactly. People may not be willing to do it because there's other teams on bye. There's injuries out there. So if you have that depth that you could take it on, this is the perfect time to do it. So, the Ravens going to need that bye week anyways, man. That was a pretty humiliating loss to the Bengals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the Bengals are good, but, man, the Ravens just played.
They looked bad. Their defense looked bad.
I haven't seen their defense do that in a long time.
Not in a very, very long time.
No. But in our start-sits episode that we dropped over the weekend, I said to keep an eye on Bateman's targets, and he once again had 6 targets. He was a little more effective with them this time. He had 3 catches for 80 yards. It's a lot more effective than he was for week 6, so I know it's not a huge number, but you also got to remember, this is a rookie. This is only his second game that he's been able to play. So Bateman's should continue to be utilized in this offense as a complement to Hollywood Brown and Mark Andrews, but if he continues to progress, I think he can find himself as a low-end wide receiver 3 coming off the bye week if he continues to impress in practice, impress the coaches. Like I said, you usually don't see this very often when it comes to a wide receiver that gets hurt right before the season starts, misses all that time, and comes out, and I mean, the coaching staff trusts him right away to be on the field that much. So I think that's all shining, all good things.
I would caution the Ravens have a history of putting guys on the field when they shouldn't be.
Well, he's not a running back, so.
Yet. They're almost down to that point on the roster.
Don't you put that on him.
Is he on? Wait, did you pick him up in our league?
No, I didn't.
Okay,
no, he has a shot.
I just wanted to make sure that we weren't recommending somebody who's about to get hurt. So
we're good.
Okay. All right, here we go. I
picked him up last week if he was available.
He wasn't though.
Not in ours.
It wasn't me though. Our league is too friggin' skilled, man.
All right, Shaggy.
There used to be a day that. Me. What's that? No, it wasn't.
Shaggy.
Yeah. There used to be a day where we could run to the waiver wire, grab these guys up, but nowadays we're recommending guys who we ourselves cannot get hold of. And speaking of not being able to get a hold of a guy in our league, we've got Michael Gallup. He's 40% rostered presently. He is designated to return from the IR just today, actually, as we record this. So he should step right into this offense and start getting some points right off the bat, in my opinion. He's likely to start practice this week. They've got then 21 days to get him activated to the fully active roster, see what occurs from there. Look, last year he managed to finish as wide receiver 36 on the season, even though they had CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper on the roster, both killing it for the most part. Cooper a little more than Lamb, but hey, Lamb is a solid wide receiver, right? I think that Gallup actually occupies a space on this offense that is separate and apart from those two guys, and as a result, he's still got value there. Now, he's not going to finish as the wide receiver 36 on the season. He's just simply missed too much time. But what we're going to judge him on solely this year is how he performs in the second half once he gets a game or two under his belt and they start making it apparent that he's full ready to go, right? So we got to keep an eye on that, see where he goes from there. So we're really just looking for a guy that maybe is going to pop up and be good for us for, a few of the weeks of the rest of the way, even if we're just playing matchups. That's the kind of thing we're looking for right now. This is really, though, a pickup and stash only. You want to grab him now, you've still got some time, but You want to get there before anybody else does, and you won't have to spend a whole lot to get a hold of him. So only make this grab if you have bench space available, or you can hold off for a few weeks until he manages to actually begin to help you out. So while I'm recommending him, this is not a help this week for you, actually, right? So that's where I'm at. What do you got on tight end?
Well, I was just going to add that Amari just, we've talked about this in the past where he just always plays hurt.
Yeah.
And he's willing to do that, but it's also,
it's decoy though. Yeah.
It's a decoy, and like how much longer can he do that if something bad were to happen? So that's, we don't forecast those things, but if history serves us right, this is potentially a really good pickup. I like that one a lot, Kyle. Alrighty. All right. At tight end, I have big Mo Alley Cox, 15% rostered. One of our guys that would usually ask us a question on Sunday sent me a text like, "Hey, what do you think of tight ends? Like, who should I look out to replace?" I was like, maybe Mo Alley Cox would be a good guy. And he goes, "I don't know how I feel about starting a porn star with that name, Mo Alley Cox." But anyways, the guy just keeps getting it done. And with the limited target volume, he's still getting it done. So 3 of the last 4 weeks, he's finished as a tight end 9 or better, Kyle. Guy's just a touchdown machine.
Yeah,
he's a touchdown machine in this offense. And it's not like a fluke one. At least week 7, I was watching it myself. He's, Reich actually called in a specific play in the red zone for Mo Alley Cox. Yeah. And he turned it into a touchdown.
Wait, what week was that?
I think it was 7?
7 miles an hour.
There you go.
Yeah. But, tight end is such a finicky position. We've talked about this forever. That you're looking for a guy that is continually targeted in the red zone, and that is Big Mo. He doesn't do a whole lot in between the 20s, but once you get down to the red zone, you get a guy that's able to go down there and, one of our favorite things, you get a guy that gets, post up. Gets the high point that ball, post up, get that rebound.
I don't know. I bet he played basketball in college.
Oh, they only mentioned it like 20 times during the broadcast, but at only 15% rostered right now, this is a steal off the wire, truthfully.
Yep.
15% rostered.
Yeah, that's a steal.
This, 3 of the last 4 weeks, tight end 9 or better.
Yeah. It's nuts. Hey, here's another steal. Here's another tight end steal off the wire, right? CJ Uzoma, 14% rostered, even less, right? Just barely. Hey, it's the real deal. It's confirmed. He's the real deal. Another week with 2 touchdowns. That's right. He's had a couple of those now. He's starting to make Burrow look like a good QB, actually, which, in my opinion, hasn't really been all that easy. It's the Bengals, and it's a really bad offensive line, especially at pass blocking, which is kind of odd that they're better at run blocking than pass blocking. But I guess to them, moving a guy in the direction that they want to go, it's a little easier than, dropping back and trying to keep somebody upright. Look, 5 touchdowns last 4 weeks. That's a pretty solid number. You add in there that he's also actually been tight end 1 overall 2 times during that span. Obviously, both times he had 2 touchdowns, so that makes a little bit of a difference.
That'll happen.
A little bit.
Help.
A little bit. Here's the concern for me, and this is a big concern, and I think this is why he's still sitting unrostered in a lot of leagues. It's his targeting. It's super low. Basically, he's getting targets when they're in the end zone and near it, and about nothing else. A couple weeks,
Big Mo.
Yeah. So a couple weeks ago, when he had his first 2 touchdown game, he actually did get some yardage, but he still had a really low target total. This last week, extremely low yardage, extremely low target total. I think he had 3 targets, 2 of them were touchdowns, like in the end zone, like no yards, basically. So that's the downside you get. So you're playing that high variance game there with the touchdowns being much more necessary for him to bring value to you. And so I think he's one of the better ones to pick up this week. I would also have a couple honorable mentions. I don't know his roster percentage right now. I would imagine it creeped up after last week, but Zach Ertz would be somebody I would throw out there if you're interested in that kind of thing. Another option that I would also suggest, just be aware though that Ertz is going on a short week and he is an old man like me. Another thing that I would suggest though also is, check out Tunyon with Devontae Adams out this week, guys. He's out on COVID.
Is MVS coming back?
I don't think he's activated fully yet, but it is possible. But I would still take Tunyon in that situation. I think that
because what was a hamstring for MVS?
It was, but he is coming up off of IR soon. So
yeah, I'm just like, usually that first week back, they don't thrust it in there.
And I think that Lazard has solidified a wide receiver 2 situation for himself. I think that they're going to move Lazard outside, though, a little bit, but they like his blocking a lot. So I don't know what they're going to do here. This is going to be curious. They don't have a lot of outside guys right now. And so I think it's possible. I mean, now we're off the topic of waiver wire here a little bit, guys, but I think it's possible that what they'll do is give Amari Rodgers some play on the outside, see what he can do, or move Cobb out to the outside and put Amari Rodgers on the inside. Just because I don't know who they move to the outside at this point. They're not, I think, is it Equinemius St. Brown, I think, is banged up too. So they didn't really have any outside guys. Yeah, I mean, dude's thinner than Devontae Smith. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with that. So so you have a QB. I have abstained from QB this week. It is just the dregs here, guys. Not even worth, in my mind, other than what Justin's got here, it's not even worth rostering any of these guys in two QB or Superflex right now. As far as who is below the rostering level. It's getting on to that point where we told you a couple weeks ago, start considering stacking another QB on your bench, that you needed to think forward for a little bit here, especially in those deeper leagues. You need to do that as early as like week 6 usually. And this is where we are. Now you've got a guy that is probably one of the best pickups at QB.
It's a guy.
It's passable.
It's
passable
Trevor
for now.
Lawrence,
Yeah.
number 1 pick in the draft last year, but
He's a
38 or
rookie.
this year, 38% rostered. The Jags are coming off the bye week for week 8, so they're going against the Seahawks, who just lost in a terrible looking game.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things, maybe someone isn't paying attention that, this team was on the bye, and people are just looking at, who did what last week? Well, Trevor put up a goose egg. Well, there's a reason. He was on a bye. But after having like an okay week 1 in fantasy purposes, Trevor had a couple rough weeks there that really had him drop off the fantasy radar. But since week 4, he's played well. He has played well enough, in my opinion, to be a starter every week in a 2 QB or super flex league. So another big plus is that he does have some favorable matchups coming up that could be in line with maybe other QBs, bye weeks, or potential injuries that you may have had. So this is a good, nice little insurance policy. One note I will say is from what Urban Meyer has said, we got to trust this guy. But it does sound like DJ Chark is going to be ruled out for the rest of the year. There was hope that he was going to come back, but it looks like he's going to be out for the rest of the season. So that does kind of hurt Trevor Lawrence's, rest of the season outlook. But I think he has enough weapons to help him progress and put up a solid season with the Marvin Jones, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson in the backfield. I think there's enough weapons for him to overcome.
Yeah. Which I think drives up the value of Marvin Jones a lot, actually. Who's a volume receiver in that offense. And Laviska Shenault, he's marked as a pickup for a lot of people this week as well. So I think, it's a guy you could go out and check out. One of the things I think Lawrence actually has going for him is a really solid run game. It takes a lot of the pressure off of him to have to figure out everything, right? And it's a high volume performer in James Robinson. So I think it was just not week 7, but the week before, week 6, I think was the first time that Robinson had given up any carries to another guy on the team inside of the 5-yard line or something like that. And I think the dude was stonewalled too. So.
Trevor's fantasy relevance goes right in line with the fact of, we have James Robinson at running back. Like Trevor had a decent week 1 in fantasy purposes, but that's the reason why I say that is he had 3 touchdowns, but he also had 3 interceptions, and they forgot that James Robinson was on the team. Yeah. And it took a couple weeks, and then those next week 2s and 3, Trevor Lawrence had terrible outings. Well, then what happens? James Robinson becomes a fantasy football player again.
Yep.
And it just goes right in line with him improving. So I think we have an opportunity where he can continue to improve.
Yeah, I think a good running game can help him out a whole lot. And so as they've shifted towards that a little bit more, it's taken a lot of the pressure off of Lawrence's arm. And I think he could be really solid. So, All right, guys, that's going to do it for our Week 8 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. Hopefully, we've got some names that can help you out, help you win this week. If you have a couple of questions or you got some guys that you're interested in, want to get our opinion on it maybe, or you want to, get some information to try to sell somebody or like trade somebody or whatever, seems to be some fishing expeditions on Twitter about that all the time. Then, feel free to hit us up. We'll give you what our opinion is on anybody. So do that. You can catch us over on Twitter. You can catch us down in the comments below. If you want to hit us up on Twitter, usually we're both manning the ship at FFB_upside. And then I'm at Kyle_the_upside, and Justin is at JW_the upside. So we will catch you guys on the other side. Hopefully we can help you out.
Yep.
Talk to you later. Bye.
See ya.